themselves, please. I can get started, and if at any time you want to say something, you can definitely unmute yourself.
Okay, I can't find myself. Let me see.
You go down to your control bar and you see the mute button, and you just press that once. And the red
bottom left-hand corner.
All right, I believe everyone is muted. We have 7 participants. Cool. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. So my name is John Lazarczyk. I'm the STEM coordinator at ICOE. I'll be your host today, and my partner is...
Hi, I had to unmute myself. I am Janet Estrada. I'm also with ICOE curriculum coordinator. So welcome, everyone.
Yes, welcome. Thank you so much. And my mouse is going crazy. Sorry about that. Thank you so much for joining us today. So the title is called Using Zoom in the Age of Remote Learning. Honestly, I was thinking we're probably all in the same position. 3 months ago, I never thought this would be a reality, but here we are. So I was tasked early on with trying to figure out all things Zoom and then share it with, you know, the people in our office, and we started sharing with the districts, and then now we're specifically sharing it for the adult ed community. So I do not profess to know everything, nor does Janet, but we're going to do the best we can today to walk you through a Zoom, how you can host a Zoom, how you can control Zoom and people from getting in your Zoom and doing something we called Zoom bombing, so it's safe. And so we're just going to walk you through that today. And then our goal is we'll meet again on Thursday for Zoom part 2. But in between that, if you can, we're going to ask you guys to just kind of practice and work on some things. And even if you, okay, real quick question. How many of you have been using Zoom at all with your students? Just a thumbs up or a yes or no.
Can't get my thumb in the right place. There it is.
Okay.
But you also have...
Oh, we have the thumbs up here.
Yeah. Yes, the reaction.
Reaction. There we go. Okay.
So a couple people have been using it. Awesome. So we're going to ask them between today and Thursday. You just work on something, whatever you want. But we're gonna go ahead and get started. Again, welcome. So I don't know if you guys have seen these. These are making the round, right? If Dr. Seuss were alive today, maybe this would be the next thing that he writes about. You know, I'll teach you in a room. I will teach you now on Zoom, and that seems to be the preferred platform. So again, who would have thought we'd be here 3 months ago, right? Okay, so with that, this is Janet. So I'll give you to Janet.
All right. So this is a blob tree. Some of you might have already seen this. And so it is part of the feel-losophy, which is gives you permission to feel. So as you look at this tree, there are the blobs are throughout this tree. And it also illustrates which blob on the tree would describe you at this moment. So just look at that. You can unmute yourself, or in the chat bar, you can look at what blob are you right now. So you can unmute yourself and let us know, or you can put it in the chat box. Okay, we have a 9 from Irene.
Is this in relation to teaching?
It could be how are you feeling right now, just having to Zoom, or just how are you feeling right now?
So, a 3.
All right. Hey, that's okay.
Yeah, you can put your answer in the chat box. I think Janet already said that.
Yeah, we can. So we have some 9s, we have some 10s, but
and a 3.
3.
That's okay. Because you can also use this tree blob with your people, your adult learners, and just checking in with them on how are they feeling. It could be used, how are they feeling about an assignment. It could be used, how are they feeling about their future. And so this is, once again, just a check-in point and just giving permission to feel. So on this tree blob, there's also the link to it, and you can type in on the bottom where it says your number, how you're feeling, and it says test, submit, but it's not really a test, but it does give you encouraging words for you based on how are you feeling at that time. So we have some 3s, we have 6, we have some 10s, and once again, we're all in this together, and that's why we're here to support you. So right now, John and I could be 11 and 12, just supporting you with today's learning. So thank you, everyone. And I will put the bit.ly link back in. So for those of you that just came in, so that way if you would like to access the slide presentation right now, you have that link in the chat box. All right, John.
Thanks, Janet. So we'll continue. So I do want to give a shout out to, when I was looking for resources to put together this training, Butte County up in Northern California had tons of resources that I kind of gleaned from. As my friend Kiana likes to say, I mashed their information together with what I knew, and it became this presentation. So I want to shout out to Butte County. Appreciate them. So we do have norms that I'd just like to remind you of. You may have seen something like this before. You may have not. This may be the first time. So please, if you're not speaking, mute your mic. Otherwise, I have to be the bad guy and mute everybody, because I can do that as a host, and I'll show you that later on. Janet talked about the chat feature. Please use that to communicate with others. Janet is going to be closely monitoring the chat with what, 6, 7 people. It shouldn't be too bad. It is challenging when there's 35 people on the Zoom call. But please use the chat feature. But also, please feel free to unmute yourself at any time and ask a question. Okay, we're a small enough group, we can handle that. Maybe when you do chat, use your name, and we know your district, at least maybe use your name as a starting point in the chat. Hi, my name is Susan, I'm blah, 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 right? And of course, just like any meeting, the etiquette is appreciated, and try to, I know it's hard to, but try to imagine this is actually a face-to-face meeting, and how would we respond to each other? How would we interact? So these are our norms. Thank you, guys. So what are we going to do today? We probably won't get through all of this today, but I really don't need to read it for you. We just did the SEL activity. But the biggest thing I want to talk about today with you guys are the safety concerns involving Zoom. And they do have the newest update, which we'll talk about, that is giving us another layer of protection in Zoom calls. And for sure, I want to get through the control bar and have you guys interact with the control bar. And then we'll see what else we can get through. But definitely at the end, we're going to have an optimistic closure for you guys to see how the day went for you all. So this is the agenda. So real quick, what is Zoom? There's a little video here. I'm not going to play it. It's only about 45 seconds long. But as you can see, this is, it's a remote conferencing product that combines video conferencing, online meetings, chat, and then any kind of mobile collaboration. So this, seems to be the preferred method. There are other platforms that you can communicate with online or video conferencing, but Zoom, as you can see, has really taken over. So before we start, what I'd like you guys to do is this will really help us out, because we really don't know where you guys are coming from, how much you've used Zoom. If you can help us prioritize and just put some questions, some burning questions or questions that you have about Zoom, place it in the chat, please. And Janet will monitor that. And that'll give us an indication of what direction we kind of need to take you guys based on your questions. So I'll give you guys a minute to kind of formulate some questions about Zoom, type them in the chat, and then either we'll address them right away, or like the bullet says, listen closely throughout the meeting. And then 10 minutes before we end, we'll come back and revisit the list and see if there's anything else that we need to address. So just go ahead and type your questions that you might have about Zoom in the chat. I'll give you guys some time. So another question about breakout rooms. Need to learn the basics. What is the colored line that sometimes goes around the screen? Today that did not let me share my screen. Interesting. We'll have to think about that one. So I see a couple about breakout rooms. Just starting. Can I put questions in a breakout room? Is it possible to share my screen with different breakout rooms? So, for I believe the colored line is shown every time someone speaks or makes noise, but I'm not sure.
Yes, that is.
Yeah.
Because if you notice, my screen just lit up. So it's when someone speaks. And on this settings, John, with the, I'm sure you'll discuss it, but they'll have to give permission for people to share their screens in order to share it.
Yes. So
but you'll go over that one.
Yeah. So, so as you guys were coming in, I made all of you guys a co-host. So that means, because I wanted to show you the power that you have just slightly less power than the host, but really enough as a co-host to, you can kick people out, you can mute people, you can share a screen. So we really have a lot of power as that. So we'll talk about place a student who's unassigned to one of the rooms, show you how to do that. How do I mute people in a breakout room? I'll show you how to do that. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and continue. If you keep putting the questions in there, Janet will monitor. Okay. So thumbs up if you guys are feeling good so far. Let me see that thumbs up. Plus it gives me a point of understanding. You know where the thumbs up is. All right, Susan Massey has a thumbs up. Yes. Good. Janeth, Irene, Vanessa. Okay. So here we go. So Zoom was widely used, but before the COVID hit, but man, now it went from 10 million to 200 million users overnight. And they admitted they were wholly unprepared to deal with the safety issues that did arise. You may have heard about Zoom bombing. That's somebody who crashes the party and starts to show risky content to everybody else in the Zoom room. And people were doing that, and it was getting kind of out of hand. Even the FBI was investigating. So the CEO said, time out. Here's what we're gonna do. We're not even gonna look ahead. I'm gonna take all his 90 engineers that would usually work on future projects, and their job right now is to just look at how can we make Zoom more safe for everybody. And especially when you're dealing with younger kids at home who could be unaware that they are showing some very sensitive or confidential information to everybody else, and it's being recorded and all that. So there's a link here from the note from the CEO. So what did they do? All of these, by the way, are links that'll take you right to these trainings, these daily demos, the webinars. And the last one is kind of an important one to update to Zoom 5.0. You can either do it like now, but for sure on May 31st, if you try to join a Zoom meeting, you will be asked to have this update first. It takes about a minute to update, real quick, real simple, and it gives you guys an extra layer of protection. And I'm sure they'll have more updates as this thing continues. So boom, they offered all kinds of trainings, webinars. I used a lot of these to help me out with mine. These are very effective. They're very cool, very professionally done. Love them. For educators, they rolled out a guide to set up a virtual classroom, how to better secure their classroom. You know, a dedicated K through 12. I know you guys aren't in the K through 12 world, but this could still work for you guys when you think about it. And the last two bullets is they put a virtual waiting room on by default, so that no matter who enters your Zoom call, just like you guys did, you went into a waiting room first. That way I as the host could see, okay, I understand these people need to be here, but there could be one person I don't recognize. and I don't have to admit them. They'll forever stay in the waiting room. Another safety aspect of it. And then at the bottom, the last one, what was happening, teachers were letting kids share their content, and kids were getting crafty and sneaky and putting up some crazy stuff on the screen. So now it's by default that the only person that can share is the teacher. During the meeting, the host. During the meeting, I as the host can allow other people to share, but until I do that, nobody else can share. And if I do allow someone to share and they put up some risky stuff, I can overcome that really, really quickly and stop the sharing. So they put in, they did some thought, put some thought into this and put a lot of safety factors in. So has this happened to you guys yet on a Zoom call? Maybe not so much with adults, right? Kids in bed, dogs going crazy, sending messages. So, these are things that have been happening. And I know my daughter, her first Zoom call, it was chaotic. They've been a lot better now. And she's a junior in high school. So I do want to tell a real quick story, cautionary tale. A friend of mine, son was on a Zoom call. And my friend was in the background just kind of listening to it. And she heard this adult voice in the background of one of the kids on the other end of the Zoom, and this adult voice was on the phone, and this adult voice was giving out their credit card number as he was ordering something over the phone. And if that would have been recorded, or if another kid could have listened to that and got that information, that's the kind of thing that we want to make sure we avoid, right? So that's a cautionary tale. So communication is the key, right? Let people know when your Zoom calls are going to be. I'll show you how to do that. How long they're going to be, what the norms are, like we did. And here are some suggestions for teachers. Again, most of these apply to the K-12 world, but you may take some of these on your own, like maybe muting students as they join the class. Nothing worse than someone joining the Zoom and then all kinds of background noise coming in. So just something that I wanted to share with you guys. There's a privacy policy. There's a great article from the San Diego Tribune talking about how to have a better Zoom. I'll actually show you where you can put people in timeout in the waiting room if they're not being, if Janice starts to get unruly, boom, I can put her in the waiting room and just let her sit there and cool off. Or I can kick her out too. It's really cool. So as a host, you got a lot of power. So the next two slides, these are links actually to what parents need to know about Zoom. And I just want to switch that to for you guys, what adults need to know about Zoom. This may be a great resource to show your adult students, and so make sure that then when they join a Zoom meeting that they're understanding what risks and trying to avoid the big risks. So safety tips for parents, safety tips for adults, right? Okay, so you guys got on, so I'm not going to sit here and tell you how to join a meeting. You know how to do that. But one thing that I found that was really cool is at the bottom, there's Zoom directions for students, and they're in Spanish. So if you have a student who's maybe having a tough time, well, I'll just click on here, and boom, it gives me directions for students how to join a Zoom if they're on a computer, if they're on an iPad, and it gives them some other helpful resources about how to, what the attending controls look like. So this I thought was really cool. And it's also there in Spanish as well. Okay. So as the host, I have a lot of power. You guys are co-hosts, you have a lot of power, right? Even though I may be sitting at the table in my shorts on a Zoom call, I have a lot of power as the host, okay? So what I'd like you to do is go down and look at your host controls. These should be at the bottom of your screen. They should pop up when you mouse over them with your cursor. And you should see something very similar to this. The only thing you won't see as a co-host is you will not see this Breakout Rooms button, right? And depending on if you have Zoom 5.0, you may not see the security shield right here, okay? But for sure, you should see if you're going from left to right, the mute, the video, participants, the chat, share screen, record, and then the reactions. Thumbs up if you see everything that I'm showing you here except for the breakout rooms and maybe security. Are you seeing pretty much what I'm seeing? Just put a little thumbs up. Thank you. See a couple thumbs up. Thank you, Susan. If you're an attendee and not a co-host, this is what you would see. So normally, probably when you join a Zoom call, these are the controls that you have, right? So what you don't have is the breakout rooms. You don't have the security. You just have these controls right here to mute, stop video, participants, chat, share screen, record, and reactions, okay? So this is just kind of a little funny thing I threw in there. So sometimes you're not feeling too well, maybe on a Monday morning, you just want the audio on. And other times, maybe you are ready to go and you want the video going, right? So just a little bit of difference here. But I also want to share with you, these Zoom calls can be a lot of fun, right? So last week I was in a Zoom call with my colleagues, Tracy Canales, Kiana Gibbons, and then this is Mary Aubrey from Meadows. And they play this was about a protocol that we use called RACE. And they had a song, and here's what they did. Oh, John. So anyways, we can have a lot of fun as well. Okay, so I'm gonna walk you through, I'm gonna make, so Dina is a co-host now. So I'm going to walk you through here, guys. I just want you to kind of step by step. So go down to that bar again and see where the mute button is. If you click the mute button, you'll see a red line. That means you're muted. If you click it again, it means you're live. But if you click that up arrow, you will see something that looks like this. So go ahead and click that up arrow, and this lets you select a microphone, select the speaker. Most of you guys is probably already embedded. But the one thing I do want to share with you, when I click on audio settings, can you guys see this on my screen? Janet, can you see this?
Yes.
So when you click on the audio settings, this pops up. And this lets you just test your speaker and your microphone, right? But another key piece are all these other choices right here. So when I click on the general choices, that just kind of lets me look at these settings. If I want to use 2 monitors, you know, if I want to add Zoom to the Mac OS menu bar, you may not really even have to worry about this, but these are general settings once you become more familiar with Zoom that you could use. When you click on the video settings, you should see yourself in the screen right there with your background. I'm using a ICV background, right? If I look down in the bottom and I click mirror my video, did it turn the other way around for you guys?
Yes, it turned around.
So I know that this is wrong. So I'm gonna do it this way because I know that's the right way, right? If it's a Monday morning, literally you can also click on touch up my appearance, and it kind of gives your face an airbrush look to it. So, hey, for those of us that are really worried about that, you got one button away going from a Monday morning to your best look on a Saturday night, right? So you can tell I look a lot better, but when I go like this, okay? So, and then there's some other choices right here. You may not have to really worry about too much, but I just wanted to show you these few things. If you go to the share screen, so usually for the host, if you're sharing a screen, it just gives you some settings to kind of look at. So when I share a screen, it should enter full screen. When someone else shares their screen, which sometimes is a pain in the butt because it takes up the whole screen. And some other choices here, not going to really go into that. Virtual background, you see my background? Well, I can change my virtual background to this. I can change it to my favorite football team, right? So if I want a cool virtual background, all I have to do is click on this plus sign, and you will have to download an image somewhere in your computer first. And you just add that image. It'll talk about, ask you where you want the image from, and then you can add an image, and that can be your background image. Kind of fun. The other day, one of our colleagues had a Zoom meeting, and their theme was baseball. So everybody had a baseball-like background. You can think of themes you want to have. You can do some fun stuff. And if I want to show you, that's what it looks like for real. So I'm in my house. That's my background. I'll go back here. Okay, but you can just know you can change your virtual background. If you are recording a session, the biggest thing about this one is I preset this so automatically all my recordings, when I'm recording this session right now, when I click end, it'll automatically start to download and it'll go to this folder right here. And then I can work with it and play with it and all that. Another key thing about this is there is closed captioning. And the only kind of drawback is if we were to use closed captioning, Janet would have to be typing as we go along. It's not automatic, but the students on the other end will be able to see it, and we can increase that size however we want, right? So just know you have some settings here that you can play with to background, make yourself look good, right? Test your audio. Some really cool stuff here that you can play with. Okay. So,
John, I'm sorry, I got confused about which, where we find those ones for the background. I thought that was only under the video, but you're someplace else.
okay, no, that's a good point. So the next one is if I go to video and I click up and I click on choose virtual background, see that? Choose virtual background.
Yeah.
It takes me just to that settings again. So there's a couple ways you can access it, right?
Okay, but where are you now?
So I clicked on the video and the up arrow, and there's a choice that says choose virtual settings.
Yeah.
You see that?
Yeah, choose virtual background.
Virtual background, and it takes you right to that setting of the virtual.
Oh, okay, yeah, it is.
Okay? Cool.
Okay.
So that's video. And again, if you click on the video, if I click on stop my video, watch what you're going to see. You're going to see my default non-video picture, just a picture of me, perseverance. You can also set and I'll show you how to do this. You can set the picture that you want whenever you, I guess you call mute your video. Most people put a nice picture of themselves. Other people are saying, excuse me while I become fabulous or whatever. There's all kinds of ways there. But when I click on my video again, it should go back and it's not. So there we go. Okay. So let's just keep going down the list. So security, does anybody as a co-host have the security button? You can just say yes or no.
Yes.
So Susan has it. Anybody else have that security button? That looks like that shield?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So this is really cool because this adds that extra layer of protection that I was talking about. When you click on that security button, you get these 5 choices that you see up here. And I'll go from the top down. You can lock the meeting. Lock the meeting means that the meeting is closed and nobody can come in. Everyone that's got the invitation is there. They're going to lock it. We had an issue the other day. We had 125 people on a Zoom call, and by mistake, we leaked the Zoom information out, and some other people tried to join, so we had to lock the meeting, right? Enable waiting room. So you guys notice that when you came in, you went to a waiting room first. You can either unclick that and they join right away, or you can have them go into waiting room. That's another layer of protection, like I said. You can allow participants to share their screen. Right now, that is off for me, so you guys really can't share your screen yet. But I want you guys to chat, so I allowed the chat. And then you can also rename yourself, and I'll show you how to do that. But basically I thought, well, why would anyone want to rename themselves? And then the other day I was on a Zoom call, and they asked us to choose a breakout room, K2, 3, 5, 6, 8, 9, 12. So I renamed myself. I still had John Lazarczyk, but I added the 912. And that way the host knew to put me in the 912. So you can rename yourselves as well. So these are some, they were there before, but you had to hunt for them. Now there's just right here in that little security button. Okay? Everybody feeling okay? Feeling good? Again, if you have any questions in the chat. Okay, now I want you to click on participants. And right now it looks like we have 10 participants. You should see something like this, but you should see all the participants, all 10 of us. Is everybody there?
Yes.
Okay, so if you look down towards the bottom right here, these are some nonverbal feedback buttons that you can use. So if I ask you a question, am I going too fast? You might say yes, you might say no. Or during the training, you may say, you know what, you're going way too fast. I'm gonna click on go slower. Or John, you're going like a turtle. Come on, let's pick it up. Let's go faster. I can see Jeanette doing that, huh, Jan? Click it on go faster. And if you click on the more button, then these little nonverbal feedback things popping up. You got a thumbs up, thumbs down, you got clapping. Coffee usually means that maybe I'm gonna run to get some coffee. Time, maybe it's like, well, I need a break right now. So just know you have some nonverbal, and then as a host, I'll see them popping up on your little screen. So why don't you guys click on more, click on one of those buttons so I can see who's clicking what in your window. So either the thumbs up, thumbs down, clapping, who needs a coffee break.
I don't see it in my window. I went on the clapping and I don't see that it showed up.
I don't either. I don't see it.
Yeah.
Annie, you want to try a second? Maybe yours is there. Oops.
I'll try a thumbs up. Not that either.
So probably what happened is in the settings, I didn't allow for nonverbal. I thought I did, maybe I didn't. Anyways, this is a cool way to just let the presenter know how you're feeling without having to unmute, stop everything, right?
John, it's showing us the count of how many have done it. It's just not popping up on our screens.
Okay, I know what I did. It's in the settings. I apologize for that. And
Oh, it shows up on the list. If you look at the list of all your participants,
Right.
it
So
shows
it's showing
up.
up there, but not on the screen.
oh, then I wonder if that's where it shows up instead of the screen. That's interesting. Huh.
But the reactions show up on the screen.
But the reactions show up on the screen. Yeah. Okay, maybe I learned something today. I thought that would pop up on the on your little windows here. Okay. So that's pretty cool. Next piece. So if you look at the participants and you see this more button down at the lower right, if you click on the more button, you should see a drop down menu that looks like this. And again, that's kind of like the security a little bit, where you can have participants muted on entry, and you see all the choices you have all there. Lock meeting, the play, enter, exit chime. That way I know when I hear a chime that somebody's entered or left the meeting, right? And when they've entered, I know that I have to get them out of the waiting room because there's a waiting room right now. So that little chime is key for me anyways. So just some more options there for you. You can unmute all, you can mute all, and that'll be all 10 people will be muted until all 10 people will be unmuted. But even if I do that as a host, you still have the option to mute and unmute yourself, okay? And then you see invite right here. Let's say that you're in the middle of a meeting and you're like, oh, wow, I want this person to join me. When I click on the invite, I can copy the invitation right down here, click on default email, and it takes me to my email, and I can put the person's name in, and they get an email within seconds, and they can join within a few minutes. So in the meeting, you can also invite people to join your meeting. It's really cool piece there, okay? So let's talk about making people co-hosts. How does that happen? Then we'll talk about breakout rooms. So so I joined my own meeting, right? And when I hover over the video camera, I get this more button. You guys can practice right now. When you click on participants, go up in the participants, just kind of hover over. Don't change anything, please, but just it'll show you the drop-down menu, and you should see something that looks like this. Chat, stop video, make host, make co-host, rename, put in waiting room, and remove. So these are all options available too, that I can make sure that I can chat, I can stop my video. If I need to leave and I need to make Janet the host, I can make her the host, and then she has all the power, right? You guys have all been made co-host. I can rename myself, and when I click on rename, that gives me a chance to change my name or change, put some information after my name. I can, again, talk about putting someone in the waiting room, or I can remove somebody altogether. So very powerful piece right here as well on the participants window right there, okay? Thumbs up if we're okay before we go into breakout rooms. Everybody okay? Thumbs up. I want to see thumbs up in the reactions. Good. I see 1. I see 3, 4, 5. Okay. So, and you guys know about the chat, right? So the next button would be the chat button. And we know that when you do that, this pops up and you can chat to everyone, or you can also send a private message to somebody else in the room and they can see it. The thing about that is, as a host, I cannot see any private message. So with adults, that's okay. But with kids, I may want to make sure that they can't privately chat to each other, because who knows what's going back and forth, right? And do you see this down here? This little button? So this allows me to, if I want to save the chat. And we've been doing that as a group, because there's a lot of good stuff in the chat we want to share. So if you click on this button, it should say save chat, and it'll automatically save chat to the same file that'll save the recordings, okay? Do any of you see a file button right here next to it? You guys see a file button? You probably don't, because I turned it off. Because Zoom will let you share files through a chat, but we turned it off because there's really no need. If you're working with Google or OneDrive, there's really no need to share files in a group chat, okay? Okay, so if I click on share screen, right, and I click on that up arrow, that's the next piece, share screen, and I click on advanced sharing options, I'll get something that looks like this. And it tells me I can control how many participants can share at a time. Right now I choose 1. And right now I'm the only one that can share. I can easily click on all participants and have everybody able to share. But right now, this is the way I decided to have my meeting. So that again is share screen, that up arrow, advanced sharing options, okay? Record button, real simply, once you hit record, you'll see this. It starts recording, and you can either pause it or you can stop it. And when you end the meeting, it'll automatically stop and save. All right, some of you had questions about breakout rooms. So you probably don't see this on your screen, but when you become a host, you will see it, okay? So there's a couple things you can do. So when I click on breakout rooms, this will pop up first. And I can do breakout rooms automatically, which means I can put you all into a breakout room randomly. It'll say assign 10 participants into 3 rooms, because what they try to do is get 4 to 5 people in a room, right? So if I hit create breakout rooms, And here, it'll automatically send you guys to the breakout rooms, okay? If I click on manually, then it takes me to very similar to the participants slide, and I can assign people to breakout rooms. Let's say I know my students and I know that these two kids are gonna be distracting, so I'm gonna put them in different breakout rooms, right? So if I click on assign, see right now, when I did this, I was the only one in the meeting, but when I click on assign in a little bit, I'll have 10 names showing up right here. And I can click 2 people that go to room, that are gonna go to breakout room 1. And then I come down here and I click on add a room, and breakout room 2 shows up. And I click on assign again, and I click 2 more people. Well, there's only going to be 8 people left because the other two people are in the breakout room. And I can assign 2 other people to the breakout room. And I can keep going till everybody is assigned to a breakout room. Okay. So once, I'm sorry guys, my mouse is going crazy. Once the breakout rooms are set and everybody's in, then I can broadcast a message to all. So when I click on this arrow, a little text box comes up and I can say, you guys got 5 minutes left, and everyone will see that in the breakout rooms. And then when I close breakout rooms, I have it set right now where everybody has 60 seconds to come back to the main room. Otherwise, it'll automatically kick you back, okay? So let's practice. So I'm gonna stop my share, and I'm gonna send you guys to breakout rooms, okay? So I'm gonna do it automatically. So I'm gonna assign 9 participants into 2 rooms. So some of you guys are gonna have 4, some of you guys are gonna have 5. And when you're in the room, here's what I want you to do. I want you to unmute yourself and talk about one thing that you've learned so far about Zoom, and give everybody a chance to share. Okay, everybody got it? So here we go. You're gonna go to a breakout room. Boom.
Oh, don't forget to join.
Yeah, you should see a little thing that says join. Once you click on join, then you guys will go to your rooms.
Or assign them manually.
So one cool thing about joining breakout rooms as a host is I can pop in between any of the breakout rooms. So I just popped into, this is breakout room 1, right?
Yeah. And
So
I popped in and then canceled the whole meeting, so I have to practice it some more.
Janet, so I'm gonna leave the room and I'm gonna hop into room number 2. I'll see you guys in a bit.
He's tricky.
Are you going to do it automatically?
Well, there's a little blue button on the lower left-hand corner that says leave the room.
So when do you want us to leave?
I left.
No, I'll let you know. I'm gonna join breakout room number 2.
How to get us all to be co-hosts.
Okay, and then the host can drop in on you anytime without being invited, without warning.
I wanted to show you guys that I can join, as a host, I can join any breakout room I want. So that's another powerful thing, right? So if you have, you know, I'm thinking again, I'm in the K-12 world. If I have kids in this room and kids in that room, it's just like your classroom if they're in groups, right? Just kind of hop around. I can do the same thing in a breakout room.
Yes.
Right? And then, go ahead.
I'm sorry for interrupting, but I think I like this idea of the breakout rooms because I do teach SEC middle school. So I was thinking maybe an instructor can take over one of the breakout rooms while and then pop in like you just popped in to see what they're doing. Would that work?
Yes, most definitely.
Okay.
Yeah, so one thing that we have learned too, but when we Zoom, and I know if it's not, may not be possible for you, but we always have 2 people. We always have one person as the host and one person as a moderator. I can see that. Yeah, I know. I feel bad for that. But I like the way that you're thinking about using an aide to be in that room, right? Just to kind of oversee. And I know that we talk to high school teachers and we say, you know what, there's always that kid that you trust, right? We'll have that person kind of lead the that breakout room there. And they know that it's being recorded, so that's also kind of a, the big brother's watching if you guys do anything really bad, right?
Yeah.
So, but I love this piece about the breakout rooms, and I think what we've noticed when we have 35 people on a Zoom, it's like crickets. But when we put them in a breakout room, there's 4 and 5, then we can get conversations started. So it's kind of like in your room of 100 people, you have a small group. I'm more willing to talk in the small group than I am in front of the 100 people when they give me a microphone. I don't want to talk like that, right? So similar idea here. Okay, so I'm going to leave the room and I'm going to send you guys another message in a little bit. Thank you. Okay, I think everyone is back. Cool. So that was a little experience about breakout rooms. Again, I know I kind of shared with you when I went to breakout rooms. I, as the host, I can join any breakout room I want. I can go back and forth. It's kind of like, again, cruising the classroom, and I can go to any group I want. Really, we did this in a training with about 35 people, and we put them in a breakout room to just kind of look at a phenomenon in science and make sense of it. And we got a lot of positive feedback. A lot of people love this idea of breakout rooms. So, so I'm going to share my screen again real quick. So last 2 things right here, you know the reactions, you got the clap and the thumbs up. You guys are pretty cool about that. When you want to...
John, we have about a little less than 10 minutes. My
Okay.
alarm didn't go off.
Thank you. No, thank you. I was kind of keeping track of it.
Okay.
So if you, as the host, I have the button where I can end the meeting for all. For you guys, just leave the meeting. So depending on what you guys do, I understand, when we have long meetings, some people leave and they come back. But just know that you can end the meeting for all. You can leave the meeting. And I wanted to get to... so we have more resources right here on this slide. I can't remember what slide it is. It is slide 59, if you're following along. That has some more awesome resources about Zoom. And I'm going to skip this. This is going to be day 2. When you get this, like I said, the session video will be linked right here. And the chat transcript will be linked right here, okay? So we're gonna end real quickly. Well, first of all, before we end, are there any burning questions that you guys have that you have right now? You can either unmute yourself, put them in chat.
We just got one in the chat. It says, can they stay in the meeting once the host leaves the students? And how much time do you have to review these? Oh, no, the slides will stay open, but if you have more than one breakout room, the host can bounce back and forth. But go ahead, John, and talk about that, bringing them all back.
So you also have the power. So when you got that message that said you have 60 minutes to return, that's because I clicked on that red button that said close all rooms. So when I leave a room, I can keep the breakout rooms as long as I want. You can keep those kids in there as long as you want. And you can put a setting as if they leave the breakout room that they leave the entire Zoom. I haven't had to do that, but yeah, those kids can stay in there. But once I leave.
Oh, when we leave the room, yeah.
Yeah, when you leave the room, then I can say, okay, I'm gonna close the rooms and bring you guys back. And then you get that 60 seconds warning and you can come back anytime within then. If you wait till the 60 seconds, it'll automatically kick you back. To the
the question was, I'm talking about when we end the meeting. No, when you end the meeting, everyone's gone.
Yes. When we end the meeting, everybody's gone. So if I say end meeting for all, that means everybody's gone. Typically what happens in our meetings, we wait till everybody kind of pops out and we kind of stick together and do a little bit of a debrief. But no, yes, you're right. When we end the meeting for all, everybody's gone. So, okay, here's what I'd like you to do. Janet, have you done this before?
Go ahead, John.
Okay. So this is called the optimistic closure. So what you see here are the four different suits from playing cards. And what we'd like you to do is choose whatever, suit you would like. And then there's either a question or some things that you found out, new ideas, new thoughts. What are some gems of wisdom you gathered today? And go ahead and answer these questions in the chat. That'll kind of give us some feedback on how the day went. So you may say, oh, I learned a new idea today regarding this. So I'll give you some time to do this optimistic closure. And we really want to hear from you guys.
I was answering in the chat. They were talking about the echoing, so they might need to check their audio settings. And then the audio going in and out could also be your internet going in and out.
Also, we've learned that if you hit the space bar, that'll mute yourself. And we had someone doing that the other day. They didn't realize that. So just be careful of that. In some computers, if you hit the space bar, that'll mute yourself. But we've also found out as a feedback, if you have more than one computer going on at once, that may lead to some feedback. Or if your phone is on a Zoom call at the same time.
Some responses, Irene says she's a spade.
So Irene, then what I'd like you to add there is what new ideas will you continue to research on your own? So go ahead and answer. So, oops, I'm sorry. Go ahead and try to answer that question too in the chat, if you will. That'll really help us out and give us some feedback. Thank you, Irene. Appreciate that.
More about breakout rooms.
Love it.
Spades, I want to see what happens if more than one person shares a screen at the same time.
I could show you that in the next session. We can go over that. Thank you, Susan.
Is there anything else that, besides more breakout, learning about breakout rooms and sharing screen, is there anything else that you are thinking about for Thursday? And Miss Fab is joining us.
All right. We'll make her a co-host. Right off the bat.
Welcome, Miss Denise.
Hello, my friends. I just jumped on to say hi and spend a little time with you guys. I hope everyone's doing well. We're thinking of you and knowing you guys are doing some awesome work out there. So thank you for joining us today.
Thanks, Denise.
And thank you, Janet, for the gym, just being able to gather that information.
Breakout rooms, yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, I tell you what, guys, we really want to honor your time. It is a little bit after 3. So we are so looking forward to seeing you guys again on Thursday. And so on Thursday, I'm going to dive a little bit deeper into settings and how you can preset a lot of this stuff before you even have a Zoom meeting.
John, do you want to go ahead and put our information slide up? So if they do have a question for Thursday, that they can email us?
Oh, yeah, my fault. Yep.
No problem.
Yeah.
There it is.
So you can email myself or Janet, and it can be a technical issue, or if you want, hey, Janet, can we go over this next time? Hey, John, let's go over this next time. We are here for you. And we are really excited that you guys are here with us today. And just remember our little challenge, try something between now, something you learned today between now and Thursday, and then we'll kind of kick off the meeting next Thursday or this Thursday with, hey, what did you try? What did you feel about that? How did you think about it? Did you, oh, I do want to, so I know I'm the one that said I want to honor your time, but I want to show you one thing that I think really helped me out. So when you sign up for Zoom, right, you will get a profile. If you guys already have one if you're on Zoom, but here's so you'll come to this page when you sign in for your Zoom. And the one thing that I did, you're seeing this, right, Janet?
Yes.
Okay. is I can click on host a meeting with video on, and it's just me, and I get to practice. I get to practice. One thing I'm really bad at is looking in the camera. I'm always looking at the people that are in the corner, especially when I share my screen. You can practice looking in the camera. You can practice using the tools. If you want to videotape yourself and then review it later, this is a great way to practice using Zoom, where you just click on host a meeting with video on, and you'll see it'll just be you, nobody else, and you can practice everything we did today.
Good.
Oh, that's good.
Breakout rooms are going to be tough with one person though.
So make sure you invite someone.
Yeah, invite someone and then practice breakout rooms, right?
Yeah, John, I was gonna say this is a good opportunity now that they learn more Zoom tools to just do some collaboration, like with teachers or even just like support group type things. I know that we do that sometimes. A couple of us will get on a call and just say, hey, how are you? What have you been implementing this week, or what have you been doing? And so I want to encourage you guys to lean on each other for support, or if you're not understanding something, utilize your Zoom accounts, not just to deliver content, but also to stay connected to one another. Or if you guys want us to facilitate some sort of breakout sessions for you guys and just give you guys 3 questions to kind of talk to each other around, we can do that too. So we're here for you, just like John and Janet said. Anything that you need, we are here to provide that support for you.
Yeah, Denise, thank you. That's a great idea. We, as a curriculum team, we probably Zoom once a week with someone else, because that also keeps you in connection, keeps you in touch in this period of isolation, right? So great idea. Thank you guys so much. I'm going to let you go now, right? It's 3:05, and we look forward to seeing you on Thursday, same time, 2 o'clock, and we'll go from there.